Okay, let's segue into the next phase of life that I kind of outlined for us to talk about, which is kind of the middle years. I know that you played some soccer during, we're talking pre-high school here. You struck me during those years as sometimes a bit of a daredevil. I remember being in Washington at our house there when you were doing, I think you were doing backflips off of a Potter shed out in the woods, and it kind of struck me as just a little bit, edgy, like able to...
Early pubescence.
Early pubescence, yeah. That's right.
Yeah, I think that I just have a need to move my body, so doing crazy things is just a part of that. I don't think that I'm that big of a daredevil or a risk taker, but if I know that I can do something, I'll do it.
Mm-hmm.
I like to climb on things and jump off things, and as long as, because I know my limits, and I like to stay within them.
Mm-hmm.
While pushing at the same time a little bit outward.
Mm-hmm.
You have to grow in all directions.
Right. Another thing that I remember from those years were Becca, who has become a very good friend of yours, didn't seem to me to be friend at all. It was more foe. And I remember you guys fighting a lot.
In those days, Becca and I weren't super close, but we had everything to do with each other.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we were always there with one another, and so in two kids going through puberty at the same time, it's not really a good time, and so both are chemically imbalanced, and yeah, we had good times nonetheless. Becca and I, even though we pretended to be enemies, we've always been good friends.
Okay.
And
so it's all show.
It's all show. You have to be tough when you're a teenager. Pretend like you don't care about other people.
Right. Put the shell on.
Yeah, put the shell on.
I think that during those years you probably learned a little bit about playing the guitar, but I'm not sure how much you got, just pre-high school. I'm not sure how much you got into the guitar, but there was that, and then along with that, I figured that's when songwriting started to become of interest to you, probably.
In those days, I think I was probably 13 or 14 when I remember watching Dad pick up Mom's guitar and playing this little Spanish riff. Ding, 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 ding.
Uh-huh. I learned that one too.
Yeah, and so in that, and I thought, well, I could probably do that. And so I picked up the guitar. And then by that time I was playing trumpet and things like that. And so I played that, and then I was like, hey, that was pretty easy. I wonder what else I can do with the guitar. And so Mom had a little songbook of children's tunes, and in the back was a chord chart. And so for some reason my mind didn't have a hard time grasping onto the concept of a chord chart. And I knew that you could make chords with a guitar. I don't know how I knew that, I just knew.
Mm-hmm.
And so I learned...
You didn't know that from Mom doing it then?
Well, I remember... Well, yeah, because Mom used to do, like, different fingerings and things like that. I just kind of knew. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And then once I learned all the chords in that chord chart, I started to try and put them into practice. I found that I could hear a chord on a song, or hear a song and not necessarily play all the notes in the song, but play the chords that went with those notes. And which...
Without knowing what they were, just finding them?
Yeah, just finding them, which it just seems like it was an intuitive extension of my musicality at the time. And I know there's theory behind that I never understood, but I could play a song if I heard it. And then, but I would also go to I don't know how I knew how to do this either, but somehow I figured out that you could print off tabs
Mm-hmm.
online,
Mm-hmm.
which in those days we never had internet.
Yeah, it was. So you probably went to
So-
the public library.
So when I was in junior high, I don't think we were allowed to use the printers in the library there.
Mm-hmm.
So I would ride the bus after school up to the high school because they stopped there for like 15 minutes, and I
Mhm.
would get off saying I had to go pee, and I'd go up to the library and print off just all the songs that I could find,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'd come back to the bus with an armful of papers, and then this continued for I don't know how long.
Now that was in Colville.
That was in Colville when I was in
Okay.
junior high, and so I had mountains of music, and I realized after not too long that I didn't really need those
Mhm.
because of the innate
ability.
ability to just pick up a song, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Although they do help, occasionally,
Mm-hmm.
but it was more just an adventure for me to find those things.
Mm-hmm. Did you write any songs during that period of your life, pre-high school?
Yeah.
So you started to experiment with writing some of your own music.
Yeah, and most of it didn't have lyrics. Like, even today I don't really have that many songs with lyrics. I have so many songs, but I find it hard to express beyond what music is, because the music really expresses everything that you need to know in every language.
Mm-hmm.
People hear a melody and they don't need lyrics, they just feel something, and so that's
Mhm.
kind of always been my struggle, is putting lyrics down. And from the beginning I would just put together chords and melodies and do it that
Mhm.
way. But I don't remember ever, in junior high at least, I don't remember any songs that ever had lyrics.